Welcome back to my channel. How much fun is this little background? I'm hoping that it shows up correctly because, I get to experimenting and I'm like, okay, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Whatever. Anyway, I want to send a great big shout out and thanks to those of you who actually picked up the Johnny Depp video and told me that my brows were awful. And I'm like, oh, this is what it's like. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, it would be that video because, today, this is what you're getting. You're getting lips and liner. This is what you got. But I thought that was so hilarious that, yes, there were other comments, but I thought it was so hilarious that some people decided that was the comment that they wanted to leave, what's going on with her brows. And if you look at it, in real life, they didn't look that bad, but I knew when I put the video up, I was like, I hate the way this looks on film, but whatever. The information is out there. Hopefully it brought you to the channel. So if it did, welcome. If this is your first time seeing a little bit longer video, welcome. If you're wondering about my eyebrows, they're underneath this hat and they're just brushed. So sorry to be the one to break it to you. This, again, lips and liner, this is all you get today, okay? All right, so listen, I was thinking about a situation that I had a while back. And in case you don't know, I'm Stephanie D. McKenzie and I'm still your favorite empowerment coach. So I hope, but I was thinking about a situation that happened in my life and I thought, you know what, this might be something that we need to discuss because I remember I was predating a person. What is predating? Well, predating to me is when you're kind of in that phase where you don't really know what's going on, but you guys like to talk to each other, maybe spend time with each other. And so you're kind of just going with the flow, right? Now, I don't advocate for you to predate until the end of time because some of you have been predating since, 2018, but predating is cool, short period of time. Okay, great. But I remember this particular person, they were coming out of a crazy relationship. And one of the things that they said to me was that they didn't know if they could give their all to somebody else. And I'm like, guys, I'm a whole certified relationship coach. I'm a certified life coach, bereavement. And the one thing that I'm adamant about is people having healthy relationships. And I just truly don't believe that you can give your all to someone and that be a healthy relationship. To me, that sounds toxic and dysfunctional. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Do you giving your all, toxic, dysfunctional, the rule? I just don't think it's possible. And I know that a lot of us have been taught that, like you give your all to another person. And I've done enough videos on this channel and outside of it, talking about healthy relationships versus dysfunctional relationships versus chronically dysfunctional versus acutely dysfunctional, that I'm like, yeah, we shouldn't be giving our all. The best relationships have a great balance between what he, she, and we, or he and we, or she and we need. And so I'm just like, well, need to be happy, need to be satisfied, because I also believe that you should be happy on your own. There's too many people that lean on their relationships to make them happy, and no relationship can bear that kind of weight. It can't bear that type of scrutiny. And so a lot of people do it though because of the things we've been taught. We've been taught that you give your all. We've been taught that somebody else is supposed to make you happy. I'm not saying that they're supposed to make you sad. I'm saying that if you're expecting the person that you're with to be your sole source of happiness, you're going to be disappointed. You're just going to be disappointed. So back to giving your all, right? So he says he doesn't think he can give his all to another person. And I'm like, I didn't ask you for your all, because I'm not going to give you my all, because I care about myself and I care about living in balance. And what I do know is that if I'm giving you my all, then what am I giving to myself? What is Stephanie getting if you're getting my all? If he's getting my all, what is Stephanie getting? That's a question that many of you need to ask, because again, we grew up and were taught by a lot of people that had hyper dysfunctional relationships, not just dysfunctional, but hyper dysfunctional. They went above and beyond in the dysfunction. And so they have taught us things that are not true. One of those things is giving your all. Another one of those things is using that verse in Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind, to weigh out your romantic relationships. That is not romantic relationship material. I know, you're like, but we said it at our wedding. Sorry, that is not about eros love. That is about agape love, divine love, unconditional love. And another thing I believe, the nose is doing this thing, guys. The other thing that I believe is that another human, one human to another, we can't love each other unconditionally. We just can't. Now you can feel free to disagree, and that's fine. I'm okay with you disagreeing. I'm completely okay with that. But at this point, I'm doing the video, and this is what I think. So feel free to drop it in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. You don't have to agree with me to comment. Okay, so drop it down there. Drop it down there. And while I'm doing that, while we're on the subject of that, let me remind you to do one more thing. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you like the video, share the video, comment on the video. And if you really like the information that's being presented on this channel, I would love for you to subscribe. I really would. I would like for us to get into a relationship, but you don't have to give me your all. You do have to give me all of your subscribe button though, because you gotta push it and push it real good. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, giving your all that's the whole problem in the first place. But what that also says to me is that in your relationships, you have a tendency to lose yourself. What does that mean? That means that at some point in the relationship, you become all about maintaining and managing the relationship. And again, that's not healthy. That is toxic, that is dysfunctional, that also can become, well, it can't become, it actually can show that you may be with a narcissistically abusive partner or an abusive partner in general, be it domestic, financial, emotional, et cetera, verbally abusive, et cetera. So if you get to the point, because this is what I truly believe about relationships. I believe that oftentimes we come into relationships as our best self. We are doing our thing. We are drinking our water. We are minding our business. We are doing all the things, right? Right. We come into relationships at this place and we get into the relationship still in this place, still doing our thing. But at some point, things change. And we become all about the relationship, especially if the relationship starts to have problems. Then we start to put all our energy into fixing the relationship. And listen, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but not really. But you can't fix a relationship by fixing a relationship. If something is challenged in the relationship, usually it's about the two people that are in the relationship. And it's more important for those people to turn inward on themselves than to turn outward and put all their energy into the relationship. And I mean, who am I? Just a relationship coach with 11 years of professional experience and about 30 plus of non-professional experience, according to my mother. So that being said, I feel like people come into relationships oftentimes in a good place. They're in a good place. They are happy. They're healthy. They're whole. I know social media and media in general have you think that everybody is just, running around dysfunctional as hell, but that's not the truth. Okay. That's not the truth. Some people come into relationships and they're in a really good place. And so then the relationship starts to develop and evolve. And the things that used to matter to one or both of those individuals start to fall away. And the unfortunate is a lot of times they start to fall away because we've been programmed to believe that we have to give our all. Now we've got to put more into the relationship. And I'm like, no, the things that lit you up before you got into this relationship should be the things that you continue to do. If you're going to the gym, keep going to the gym. If you journal every morning, keep journaling every morning, and maybe there might be a time or two, maybe you miss journaling for whatever reason, because you guys are cupcaking or cuddling or whatever it is that you're doing, and that's fine. But at some point, what I truly believe and why relationships have a tendency to go off the rails is that the people in the relationship stop caring for themselves and start putting all, see, there's that word again, put their all into the relationship. It's all about the relationship. See, there's that word again, all about the relationship. And when it becomes all about the relationship, that's when we see the thing I always talk about, the people pleasing. And I think, here's the thing, Sometimes people pleasing doesn't come up for some people until they get into a relationship. Apart from a relationship, they may not be engaged in people pleasing behavior. They may not have any other codependent patterns of behavior that are active in their lives. But when there is a relationship that is happening, then sometimes that's when the people pleasing says, oh, the people pleasing, I can't talk today. The people pleasing switch goes on and they are in it to win it. And if there is a problem, they go deeper into the relationship. It's really rare that people will pull themselves out or pull back or pull their energy back, as some circles like to say, and say, okay, we're having some challenges here. Let me check myself before I wreck myself. We're always like, let's put this energy into this relationship. We've got to fix it. We've got to make it strong. We've got to, no. I have had more clients flip their marriages, relationships, and etc. into a better place by focusing on themselves, their needs and their wants than I have ever had for those that want to white knuckle, oh, we're going to fix this marriage by fixing this marriage. Oh, we're gonna fix this relationship by fixing this relationship. Eventually, when they come to the reality that that's not how any of this works, then they too have the opportunity to flip their relationship. But listen, I've met with people, there have been some people that have come to my office when I have one. Now we're like 1,000% virtual. I say, yeah, about let me say 96% virtual, because every now and then I do venture out into the real world with clients. But they've come in once and I've given them this information. I've looked at how they're living and how deeply ingrained, how codependent they seem to be on each other, how possibly dysfunctional this relationship could be. And, I didn't see them again. Shocking. I didn't see them again, because what people who really have healthy relationships know is that when the relationship is truly healthy, there is room for you, for me, and for we. It's not all we. It's not all we. Now, there are some times when there is no we, when, everybody has just been truly self-centered. Maybe they have their guards up. Maybe they have trust issues, et cetera, et cetera. And so there is no we. So then we have to go in and we bring the we, we got to bring the we back out. We got to bring the we out, period. But like I said, if you're losing yourself in relationships, ultimately it's probably not your fault. And I say probably because people taught you how to love, and they taught you how to love incorrectly. TV taught us how to love, to that point, TV taught us a lot of things. I'm a child of the 80s. And one of the things TV taught me was how people die. And when people died in the 80s, they died very pretty. Okay, they're dead now. And so I went to summer camp. Okay, I went to gifted and talented camp. Do not roast me in the comments. And I was on the microbiology track, I think it was. And they took us to the morgue. I'm like 12. We're going to the morgue. Yay. Had no idea what was about to happen next. Listen, ladies, gentlemen, guys, y'all. They pulled the woman out. First of all, she was in this drawer. I wasn't familiar with all of this because I'm a child of the 80s. And they pull the drawer out, and this woman's eyes, they are frozen open. She's looking like this. Her mouth is open. And that was it. Like, my childhood was over. My innocence was done. I walked out of the room, and bodies and I cannot build to this day. Why are you telling me all this, Stephanie? I'm telling you all of this because in many ways, you have been taught how to die in the 80s. You have seen love, or people have told you how to love people. And it's very romanticized, but it's very much about self-sacrifice and martyrdom. Like, you cease to exist the minute you love somebody else. And that's not how any of this works. And so what I want you to know, if you're watching this video, that you don't have to do that, and that it is imperative that you keep the balance in giving and receiving, in loving them and loving you. Because at the end of the day, they are going to reflect back what you're not giving to yourself. So if you get to the point where you're giving to them, that means that you're overgiving to them and you're undergiving to yourself. And they will probably start to reflect that. One of the questions that I always say, if you watch any of my videos, are they reflecting or are they projecting? First question. Now I'm going to give you the one question that I feel like you really should be asking yourself when it comes to relationships. And you can ask this at any time. And I recommend that you do it anytime you see like there's a little bit of tension, a little bit of friction. Okay, great. Or maybe you're trying to check in with yourself. One of the questions that I like to see my clients, my friends, myself ask is, can I love you and love me without taking a loss? Is that possible? Can I love you and love myself properly without taking a loss? And what that means in asking that question is that I'm loving you and I'm loving myself, and there's balance there. If I find that I'm going above and beyond for you, but I tend to not do the same for myself, that means we're out of balance. And like I continue to say, where imbalance is present, abundance is fleeting, and disease is inevitable, and we want no parts of it, okay? So I'm going to take my big Aquarius energy and I'm going to get out of here because, as you know, I love to say, that's all I have to say about that. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And my name is 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲𝗏, speaker, teacher, author, and coach, here to remind you to always be your own superhero and to thank you guys so much for loving and learning and not giving your all so you don't lose yourself with me. See you in the next video.